In Resident Evil Village, Ethan Winters is a man alone, forced into pure terror to save his family, but he does find along the way one ally, a sonorous, endearing, morbidly obese entity known as the Duke. Here is the hidden story of this magnificent monster, all of the lore, every scene, and maybe some theories as to his creation.
I am but a humble merchant.
Here?
Oh, forgive my manners. Call me the Duke.
The Duke was originally intended to be first introduced by a carriage out of control with horses running wild. He was depicted as lugubrious, ample-bodied sort whose flesh was dripping from his waistcoat and pants. When Ethan first discovers him in the game, he does not disappoint.
I've been waiting for you, Mr. Winters.
How do you know my name?
Anyone who is anyone has heard of the likes of you. A hero searching for his daughter. Though I must say, that castle arouses suspicion.
Yeah, and so do you.
I am but a humble merchant.
Here?
Oh, forgive my manners. Call me the Duke. Now to business. Weapons, ammunition, healing salves, anything you desire, I can provide.
An impressive figure whose obesity is only outmatched by his dripping charm, the Duke is adorned with jewels of various varieties and fine clothing, some of which does not fully cover that ample frame. He enjoys the finer things like cigars and cured meats. He is a merchant after all, and his cart is equipped with various sundries and victuals, weapons and ammo, all pulled by one seemingly superpowered horse. The cart, as we see here, simply could not allow a man of this stature and magnitude to operate and move within it. As for why, we'll get to that a little bit later. He may seem like just a merchant, but this slovenly fat man was planned to be much, much more. According to concept art, the Duke was intended to be the fifth lord in the game. The other four lords reign over their kingdoms thanks to Mother Miranda. This friendly swollen mass could have been reigning beside them, trying to kill Ethan. Even though this never was the case, Resident Evil Village does leave some indicators of this hidden past, as Ethan finds out when he continues his journey.
Oh, we meet again.
Duke? Why are you here?
Where there's coin to be made. And have you found your daughter?
No.
If she is truly here, the lady of the castle would have kept little Rose in her private chambers, would she not?
Dimitrescu?
The very same. Why don't you take a look? Maybe you'll get lucky. And speaking of looking, care to make a purchase?
We find the Duke inside the castle of Lady D. A guest book shows that he was allowed to enter to discuss business, despite helping Ethan along the way as Ethan tries to get his revenge. He is known to the lady and is even offered a meeting. Could this be reverence to a lord of an equally powerful house? Later in the game, when inside the Duke's cart, Ethan finds a sigil on the floor. It's of an owl and with some French words underneath it. Those words roughly translate into English, money, the right. This could be the hidden first house of this merchant, and it ties into a theory about his origin. But let's continue. After escaping the castle, Ethan confronts the Duke, who lied to him about Rose.
There you are. I had a feeling you would pop up here.
It was all worthless.
Is that so? I assume you've picked up something of value.
Not sure if it's of value, but...
Why, you have your daughter right in your own hands.
What are you saying?
Take a closer look. That flask seems to contain her head.
No. What?
Roses.
Don't say another word! This is impossible! This just can't be!
Your daughter's essence is still intact. Her powers are truly unique.
Who could even do this?
She can be saved, you know.
Saved? From this? Are you insane?
There's a house with a red chimney on the western side of the village. Go and seek out the man who lives there. Then we can continue our conversation.
Quit holding out and get to the damn point!
You don't have to trust my words. But do you have any better options? Your choice. The customer is always right. After all.
You'll pay if I find out this is a lie. Fucking joker.
How was it? Did you learn anything?
I found these feathers. Now tell me how to fix this like you said you would.
Settle down. First, you must use that key and collect all of your little roses flasks.
Where are the rest of them?
There are 4 in total. You have the one, and the other lords have the rest.
Lords?
Mother Miranda is the cold, calculating ruler of this village. 4 lords serve under her. The first you've already met, the Lady Dimitrescu. The second lives deep in a valley of mist, the doll-maker, Donna Beneviento. None of her playmates have ever come back from that dank old estate. The third is Moreau, a being of twisted flesh that lives in the reservoir past the windmills. It is said that he is not the only monster that lives in those waters. The fourth and most dangerous is Heisenberg. He works in his factory on the village outskirts. And the project. Let's just say parts of the human imagination are better left alone.
Not only is the Duke aware of the magic that vivisected this young Rose, but he also has an intimate understanding of the lords and their domain. The Duke now remains in this position for most of the game, but will react to the actions and goings-on of Ethan, even offering to buy the remains of the lords that Ethan kills, suggesting once again that perhaps this being of incredible power is looking for revenge.
Ah, my apologies. Oh, Lady Dimitrescu. Beautiful even in death. That waistline, yes. Does this look familiar to you? Huh? Ah, Miss Angie. Just adorable. Porcelain dolls are very popular, you know. As you wish. This is Lord Moreau's? I suppose it's what they call the beauty of the grotesque. As you wish. Oh, the assemblage of life and machine. I can feel Lord Heisenberg's essence through it. Please, be well.
During this time, Ethan also finds that the Duke is seemingly immortal. No gun or explosive can harm him. In fact, he laughs at Ethan when he tries. This could simply be a gameplay choice. We can't have our only merchant in the game susceptible to damage. It could also denote a being of great power, similar to Lady D, who was not susceptible to any damage until she was stabbed with a magical dagger. Could the Duke have similar powers? Either way, our time with the Duke is nearly done. The final conversation that Ethan has with the Duke is the most impactful. It is followed after Ethan discovers that he himself has died over 3 years ago and was a living mold monstrosity. He's eventually found or recovered by the Duke and placed into the back of his cart.
At last, he awakes.
Where am I?
My carriage, Ethan. You were having a nightmare.
Duke?
Your battle with Heisenberg was a sight to see. But to think Miranda would show herself.
How long have I been out?
Not long till dawn.
Duke, I need a favor. Take me to Miranda.
I assumed as much and am already on the way. We should arrive shortly.
Thank you.
But Ethan, are you sure of this? Your body is, well, falling apart.
Yes.
Foolish of me to ask.
Speaking of foolish questions, who or what are you?
Even I can't quite answer that. We're here.
I owe you one.
Mr. Winters, I'm afraid you can't return to your old world any longer. Are you ready?
Yeah, I have to be.
Without the Duke, Ethan would have never been able to save his daughter Rose. When Ethan asks who the Duke is, even the being himself is unsure. This all but confirms my theory. The Duke was another creation by Mother Miranda or one of her servants. His mutated form is very similar to that of Salvatore Moreau, along with the sigil and recognition from other lords of a possible fifth house. The Duke, though, stands apart, I think, and eventually looked to turn on his creator. A diary entry from a member of the town shows that the Duke gave out newspapers to help the townsfolk understand the outside world, despite Miranda's objection. Perhaps he became disillusioned with Miranda's plan, and by the end of it, he would do anything to get rid of her. This would explain his mobility. As we said earlier, a man this size could not go from place to place in these tiny cracks, but a being mutated with a Cadeau parasite could. Maybe he didn't like the idea of all of his customers slowly being turned into lichens by Miranda. After all, that's not good for business. There is another theory that I wanted to touch on, that perhaps the Duke is a being that lives in the mind of Ethan Winters. After all, Ethan is dead, and at one point sees an embodiment of Evelyn from the previous games. This concept, while interesting, doesn't account for the tangible goods being sold or his interactions with other beings in the world. Now, in the finale of the game, Ethan blows up the Megamycete and most of the village, perhaps exactly as the Duke hoped for, and with his invulnerability, he moves to greener pastures, maybe Chile, to see an old friend. For those familiar with the Resident Evil series, the Duke knows our beloved companion, the Merchant.
What are you buying? Just something an old friend of mine used to say.
Got something that might interest you. What are you buying? Is that all, stranger? Thank you.
Whether he is a being of pure power or a friendly merchant who loves a good sausage, Rose Winters would not have lived without his simple wares, and for that, we must thank the Duke. If you enjoyed these stories, please tell me below. Next up, we have another being of transmorgification, the fishman himself, Salvatore Moreau.